Hello and welcome into a special edition of the G5 Hive. We are joined by South Alabama Jaguars wide receiver Devin Voisin. He was named honorable mention All Sun Belt in 2022. He was also named All Conference by Phil Steele that year. In 2023, he started the first two games of the season before going down with the season-ending injury. Let's start it off there, Devin. How's the recovering going in general for you?
It's actually really good. I just completed it. 9-month period is, the pretty much baseline timeline from injury or surgery to release. And, a lot of people with like have mental block and sometimes they can, push it back to 12 months. We have a teammate, a new quarterback that I was talking to, and his was actually 15 months because his mental block. And so, just being able to, go through the process, completing each milestone and then being cleared at 9 months, it's really relieving and gives me a lot of confidence.
So welcome to the show, first off. But South Alabama has a special tradition with the number 5 jersey. Can you tell us about that tradition they have?
Yeah, so Kane Womack being at South before he left to Indiana, when he came back, the first thing he wanted to add is the number 5 jersey because a player, pretty sure he was on South's first team. His name's Anthony Mostel. He actually passed away in a car accident or a motorcycle accident, excuse me. And so Kane wanted to honor him by giving the number 5 jersey out each week to a different player that represented Anthony Mostella, which was like, a leader, a really hard worker, and somebody that does everything right and represents LEO when that was a thing here. And so, yeah, that's pretty much what it represented. And Kane gave it to the guy who he thought, presented himself in that way each week.
Will you guys be keeping the tradition and moving forward?
Yes. Well, last time I talked to Applewhite, I'm pretty sure he was going to keep that as a thing.
Awesome. Well, let's get started from the very, very beginning. Who introduced you to the game of football?
It was actually my dad. So back in 2000 something, I was young. We lived in Oklahoma, and in Oklahoma, there's only really 2 big teams there, Oklahoma State and Oklahoma, and so we went to a store, and my dad bought me and my twin brother this OSU, like cheap gear, like full pads and everything, and bought my older brother in Oklahoma, and basically we just played like 2-on-1 pretty much, and that was when we were introduced to the game, and ever since then we loved it.
All right. When choosing a school out of high school, what led you to choose South Alabama over the rest of the field?
Yeah, so a lot of the other schools, they really wanted me to come in as an athlete because I played both sides of the ball in high school. And so, I'd have, offer here. I think Appalachian State wanted me as a corner. Troy wanted me as an athlete. Georgia Southern wanted me as an athlete. And the only 2 schools that really wanted me at, strictly receiver was South and Middle Tennessee State. And so, me, I love playing offense. I love, getting the ball in my hands and being able to score and being able to, I guess, defense, you're more of a reactionary. Offense, you can pretty much make your own play. Just however, you're really in control of your own plays and stuff. And so, honestly, that was a big pull, towards South. And then also my older brother, he was already playing here at South. He's a year older than me. And so he was already at South. And so me and my twin, we were thinking, 3 brothers at one school, and then, 1 on offense, 2 on defense. We can all be on the field pretty much at the same time, depending on, what play it is. But I thought that'd be really cool to have 3 brothers at the same school.
Well, talking about that, what it was like getting to play college with your brothers?
It was awesome, because coming to college, when you're a freshman, you get to campus, you're the little fish in the big pond, right? And so, having an older brother there that already, went through everything, knows a lot of people, it's really beneficial because, you get on campus, your brother already knows where to go. You show him your schedule. He knows everywhere to go. And then football wise, he pretty much knows the standard and knows all the traditions and everything there. And so he can kind of, show you the way. And it really, really, really helped with me moving forward.
How is it like when you are new to a campus? You hear people talk about like transfers and stuff like that. How big is it to like get in early, know where to eat, know where your classes are, how to get from place to place to the facility? How big and important is that?
It's very important because you have those things checked off. Then those are like things that you don't really have to worry about, and then the only things you really have to worry about are the main thing, and that's school and football. And so you got all those other I wouldn't say distractions, but I don't really know what to call them, but other things that get your mind off of worrying about the main thing. And so having those things checked off, you don't have to worry about those things, and you just put all your full effort into things that really matter.
Do you and Jaden get to sit down together and pick each other's brains, right? Obviously, you a wide receiver, him on defensive back.
Yeah.
Like, it just seems like it's just something special or extra that you get that not most other folks don't get.
Yeah, and so with that, we don't give each other, I don't give him offensive signals to help him out or nothing. He didn't give me defensive signals or anything. But there's a lot of tendencies that, different sides of the ball that you can spot. And so, like, he'll tell me something that if, like, one thing he told me is that, if it's a pass play and I know I'm getting the ball, I'll, like, tighten my gloves or, like, rub my hands together. And that's something he noticed. And so I went away from that and stopped doing those kind of things to give away to the defense. And then off the other side of the ball, I can tell whenever he's like lower down or like his stance is like staggered or just square, I can tell what he was doing. So he's just different things like that to switch up your game and make it harder for the opposing side of the ball to know what you're doing.
If you could pick one or two wide receivers to sit down and study film with and train with, who would you pick and why?
I would pick, first of all, Jerry Rice, because the first guy, because obviously in my head I think he's the best receiver to ever live, and he's had broken I don't know how many stat lines. He's done everything that a college wide receiver wants to achieve, and this level and the next. And so I would love to sit there and talk to him. And then a current player I would probably want to sit down with is probably Stephon Diggs. I just feel like he's not somebody that you look at and is like, blazing fast. He's not somebody that, just jumps over people and catches the ball. He's just, a solid receiver in every situation, runs great routes, has really good hands, knows the situation. And so I feel like, that guy, he's pretty much the standard as of right now. And so I would love to sit down and talk to him.
So when you're watching film, and let's say you're watching it with, Jerry Rice or something like that, the thing I love about wide receivers is you can win at different levels,
Yeah.
whether it's at the catch point, in your route, off the line of scrimmage. When you're watching film of yourself or others, what's the first thing that you look at? Is it that footwork off the line of scrimmage? Like, what is it?
And so actually there's two things. And so it's getting off the line, your release, your release is everything, whether that the defender is, press or off. And so based on your release is how you're going to win your route. So if he's off, based on your stem or your spray is whether or not you're going to, win your leverage and beat him inside or outside. And so start with your release. And if he's pressed, obviously your release is the biggest thing. If it's a bad release, you get jammed up the line that ruins the timing with the quarterback. And then the second thing is second effort is what we talk about. Paul Petrino is our receiver coach now, and his big thing is second effort. So you can lose on the line. You lose off the line, get pressed. You come off, you have a bad stem or spray, and defend. You don't get leverage. It's all about the second effort. So when the ball is in the air, if you want it more than defender, or if he jams you in the line and you're off balance, but you have better second effort than him, and you beat him, you stack him, then that's who ends up making the play.
What do you feel is your main strength is as a wide receiver?
I'd say my suddenness. They kind of go hand in hand. My suddenness and then my IQ. So being sudden, I'm not like a guy that's gonna go on a track and just run a 10-1, 100 meters. So I mean, I'm fast enough, but my suddenness. So being quick off the line, being able to cut quick and things like that. I feel like that's my biggest thing because, somebody can be faster than you and running at the same speed, but if you can cut faster than them or break down faster than them or just, react faster than them, then that gives you your edge. And then my IQ, getting to college, you have to learn a lot of things and try to see different things, how defenses shift, things to notice. And so being able to, identify what a defense is going to do before they do it really helps you and allows you to know where you're going to go and what you should do before the plays even started.
What is an area of your game that you want to work on the most?
I'd say, honestly, now would be top speed, acceleration. That comes with, just working out and everything. But, at this point, currently, with my ACL and meniscus injury, getting to that top speed and just holding that speed, that's the biggest thing for me. Cutting is something I've been doing ever since, I got hurt, getting that confidence back to, cut and plant. But now I just got to get the confidence back to know that, get back to the same speed or even better, having that full extension of the knee whenever you're running in a straight line, full speed. So I'd say probably acceleration. Top speed.
What are your goals for 2024 moving forward? And they can be both team and personal goals.
Yeah, so personal, it's going to be the same thing as it was last year, except adding a thing. So the first thing is, stay healthy. That's the add that I'm looking forward to this year. If the best ability is availability. And so, if you're not available, none of those goals even matter. And so, staying healthy the entire year is my main and number one goal. And the other ones, personal, on the field are going to be, 10 plus touchdowns, 1,000 plus yards, and 100 plus catches. I know that's kind of like, a stretch that all receivers, going to say, right? But that's just, I say that's a goal that I feel like is possible in my mind. And then team goals, obviously, is to win the Sun Belt, go to the Sun Belt championship, win that. And then I believe this year's when the playoffs start, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
So, yeah, go undefeated, win the Sun Belt, and get in the playoffs.
Well, are you excited for the much anticipated EA Sports NCAA video game? And if so, are you going to be playing on a PS5 or Xbox?
Oh, absolutely. This is a game that we've all waited 10 years for. And some of us still, including me, I'm still surprised they even did it. I thought it was over with. And I'll be playing it on the PS5.
Okay, in today's college football world, NIL and transfer portal are huge parts of it. How do you feel about those changes, and how have you seen them impact college football? Both it can be positive and or negative.
So there's different sides of it. As a player, NIL and transfer portal is actually really beneficial because you look at NFL. All those guys can have all these different sponsorships, incentives with the game, and just things like that. A lot of things to market themselves and make a little extra money. So in college, being able to already start that process and then market yourself in a bigger way before I guess having to wait to get to the NFL to do that. It's just a better way to market yourself and put a little extra money in your pocket. And on the negative side of that, there's also, I guess not personally for me, but if I was, let's say, in high school, it's more about, who offers more money. So it's not really, what school's better. You can think another school's campus really, really sucks. But if they're offering X amount of money compared to the other school, it can kind of like sway your decision. And then you get there and then, you're not happy of where you're at, but you have the money you wanted. Kind of just, grass. I guess the grass is not always greener on the other side. That kind of comes with the portal. Personally, the transfer portal is not like, a big thing, being at a college already, set in stone. But I guess out of high school, I know there's, a lot of colleges are like, I guess, what are they, recruiting low in high school and depending high on the transfer portal. So I guess if I was in high school, coming out of high school, I kind of, it would suck to have the transfer portal because there's not as many scholarships available because a lot of people want people that can play now, kind of like the NFL. You get there now, they're not like, okay, we're going to develop you for 3 years. It's more of like a play now kind of situation. So I kind of guess that it's a negative with the transfer portal.
Well, are there any players that may not have gotten a lot of playing time this past season, but we should be looking forward for a breakout here in the fall?
Yeah, definitely. And first one I can think of is his name's Shamar Sandgren. He transferred in here from JUCO, and he didn't get very much play last year, or I think last year was his first year, so didn't get much play last year because he was new, he's still struggling with the plays, just other things, other factors, help like hindering him from becoming like his best self, and so he's somebody that got to shine a little bit in the spring and show the coaches that he knows his plays now, he makes plays, and we're extremely athletic. So I think him, that's the only guy I can really think of, on the offensive side, personally. So I think he's going to have a really, really good year and surprise a lot of people.
All right. If someone has not seen you play, what one game would you recommend that they watch?
Probably 2022 New Orleans Bowl against Western Kentucky. That was probably my most productive game. Texas State, I had 2 touchdowns, but I'd say overall game wise, with play and play wise, I'd say that game right there.
What is one game that you would like to replay and why?
Selfishly, I'd say Southeastern, so I can avoid getting hurt, knowing how it happened. So in that case, I'd probably just catch the ball and kneel. But probably Tulane. The game before that, that was a season pretty much. What would I say, setter, or that set the tone for the season. And coming out that game, we came out slow and I guess cold, you could say. Not how we expected to come out. I guess our head was a little too big, coming off the season we had. And I think if we would have came out with a different mindset, if I would have came out with a different mindset, the game would have went a little differently, and I guess I could have said something differently or anything. Just knowing how it went, I would definitely go back and replay that game.
Which opposing defensive player, or perhaps just an entire defense as a whole, was the toughest for you to go against, and why?
I'd probably say, for me personally, is either Carlton Marshall or Jason Henderson from ODU. Yeah, both of them, they pretty much, if it wasn't them tackling me, it was somebody else. And so, against Troy, I caught a ball and it was kind of like he grabbed me just by like my shirt and it was like impossible to get away. And then against ODU, I can't remember exactly, but if up to my knowledge, I'm pretty sure he tackled me every single time I had the ball, regardless of where I caught the ball. And, that was kind of crazy. And he actually hurt me on one of my catches. And he even tried to help me up. And that's how I noticed it was him again. But when I go back and watch the film, I'm pretty sure he was the one that tackled me every single time.
Is there a particular routine you have on game days, or a song or artist that you listen to before games?
Yeah, so it's kind of funny. So we have like this time in between from when we get to the locker room before we go out and stretch. With about 10 minutes left, I'll start stretching, doing some band stretches and everything. And I have like this funny song that is just like a 10-minute meditation song. So I'll turn that on and just start listening to that while I'm stretching. And, it was really weird. I would never listen to it, in the car or anything. But it's just a meditation song and just sound. And then with 3 minutes before we go out to the actual game, I'll turn on just any, this little playlist that I have and just listen to it. And then especially mostly I listen to Rod Wave before I go out. And that's a song, that's a guy that I can just, it calms my nerves. I don't really want to listen to something that's like that'll make you just scream because, that's more of a defensive guy kind of thing. You want to go out there pissed off and everything. So offensive guy, I kind of want to go out there, calm and, collected.
When you're not playing football, what things do you like to do? What hobbies do you have?
I like to, travel, go to different places, new cities. I like going to the beach here and there. I'm not big on the sand, but being at the beach is a good time. And then I love playing video games.
What's your favorite video
Justice.
game?
Favorite video game at the moment? I'd either say Madden. It's between 3, Madden, 2K, and I've been playing UFC a lot.
If you like to travel, where's the best place you've been here, recently?
I just came from Nashville, Tennessee, and then Eureka Springs, Arkansas. So those are one of my favorite places to be.
So, what is your favorite meal? Could be a home cooked meal, could be a restaurant. What is your favorite meal?
So I love sushi. Any kind of sushi. I'm not a big fan of putting cucumbers in sushi. I don't know why they do that, but I love sushi. So any place that has sushi, I love it. And then I'm not a big fan of going somewhere and eating a steak like a steakhouse, but I love making my own steak or just cooking a steak, at home.
Which is your favorite sushi roll?
I'd say the dragon roll, spicy dragon roll. It's just it never lets you down.
All right. Coach Applewhite comes into the locker room and says, "No need for pads today, boys. Bring your running shoes." Where does your mind go? What position group is to blame?
Is the blame? Knowing Applewhite, he'd do that because of the quarterbacks. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, a quarterback messed up because he views quarterbacks as like the leaders of the offense or the involuntarily leaders of the offense. So you don't really have a choice. And so I feel like in his mind, if a quarterback did something really bad, then that's 100% the blame.
Well, I have to give you props. You're the first one to not tell us DBs. Everyone else always says DBs, and even the DBs said DBs. So
that's funny. No, our DBs, they act right. They do everything, pretty good. So I'd say, not saying our quarterbacks do, but just in Applewhite's mind, being a quarterback, being the old offensive coordinator, that's how his mind would work.
All right. If you could sit down and have a conversation with any three people of your choosing, it can be dead or alive, who would they be and why?
First one would be Denzel Washington. I've seen videos of him outside of acting just say some really like smart stuff. Just like motivational stuff. So him, I'd say for the next one, let me think. This is tough. I don't know about this next. I don't know about the next ones. Probably The Rock. I feel like Dwayne Johnson. I just feel like he'd be like a cool guy to talk to. And then last one probably be Kevin Hart because I feel like he's the funniest guy on the planet. So I feel like that three people would probably be a great conversation.
Are there any special talents that you have that you want to share, or any special talents that maybe a teammate has, whether they be a great singer or comedian or great cook?
I consider myself a great cook. Like watching a lot of cooking shows like MasterChef and stuff like that. Gordon Ramsay, love him. But I can't I'm not like a professional cook. But I say one of my teammates, he's transferred from Mississippi State, Reed Byes, offensive lineman. I've seen it, but before he even came here, obviously we're all like, who's this guy? So we look him up. He actually has videos on his Instagram of him singing, and it's actually really, really good. He's a little country singer. And so I say him probably. I don't know about any other thing. I don't really have like a special talent that I have.
All right. If you had to tell an aspiring high school player what the hardest part of playing college football is, what would it be and why?
Yeah, I'd say the mental part. And the mental part and the speed, the speed's a lot different going from high school to college. High school is more of like, okay, everybody has a wristband. The coach can just, either have you huddled up or, how my high school worked. We had like bands on our arms. So like he would signal numbers and then you look at your band and see what the play is. And so going from that speed to college where you need to pretty much know your assignment, where you need to be at, just based off of hand signals and posters, that speeds the game up a lot. And then, everyone's there for a reason. So going to the mental part, everyone's playing, is either on scholarship or should be on scholarship. And so the edge you need to have is mental. So somebody can be faster than you, stronger than you, but if you know what they're doing before they know what you're doing, then that'll give you a benefit.
This season, there's a couple new rule changes, but one of them is the in-helmet communications. So I assume for you guys, like the quarterback has the end helmet on the offense. Can you tell us about that? And also, like, have you guys decided, is it going to be the middle linebacker that has the one in defense, or?
Okay, so yeah, on offense, it's the quarterback, and so Gio is gonna have it, and then and Bishop, and just all the quarterbacks are gonna have it. You know, it's kind of weird because it's like they're trying to listen and talk at the same time. So I mean, it is different, but I mean, it does help. And so Gio's gonna have that. And then on defense, my brother actually had it in for the spring.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
he's a safety, and where he's playing at, and he comes down the box a lot too. So he's kind of safety / linebacker. But yeah, he had it, and then I don't know if anybody else did. I don't know how many you can have, but I know for a fact he had it.
Yeah, I think like you're only allowed like one at a time, and I think offense, like, it's a lot easier. Defense, it just feels like it's harder to manage because it feels like, you know, like a lot of teams use the middle linebacker, for instance, right? And let's say, you know, your second guy might be a safety. Well, they're both on the field at the same time, so now the other guy has to have another helmet ready that has that device in case something happens to the first guy.
That's insane. That is
Whereas,
insane.
you know, quarterback, right, you know, is always going to be the quarterback. So that was a little bit easier to manage. But I feel like defense, like, they got to, you know, that's a little bit harder to, when the first guy gets hurt or has to come out, then they have to figure out, how do we get that helmet into the game now?
Exactly. But yeah, I feel like the reason we're having it as my brother having the headset is because, you know, being a safety and then also coming down the box, he's kind of the guy in the back and sees everything in front of him. I feel like maybe, you know, late situation. I don't really know how. I think it's like 15 seconds that you have.
Yeah.
So I think, like, you know, last second, if our coach is like, hey, tell, you know, X player to scoot up or back up or slide over, you can tell them, and then it kind of be easier than turning around telling the guy, or, you know.
Yeah.
So, like, that's how's that transition been then with that communication, like from a wide receiver, or is it that big of a difference?
You know, it's not too big of a difference. I mean, it helps a lot because, you know, if somebody's lined up wrong, you know, the quarterback can look out there, like the OC can tell the quarterback, hey, tell him to get off the ball or widen out. So, I mean, it's going to help us a lot because, you know, as a receiver, you know, have so much going on in your head of what you're going to do, where you got to be. And so having that, you know, the OC can, you know, relay a message to something he can see in the box. And we can get told, you know, last second, and it can help us so we don't get a penalty. Or, you know, if there's a corner that's, you know, lined outside, we're not even looking, and there's something that he sees, you know, it's an extra help of communication.
All right.
And forgive me for not knowing this. So you got, like, you know, a lot of teams use those boards with all these random pictures. Do you guys do that too?
We do.
And even with the helmet communication, you still be doing that?
Exactly. Yes.
Okay.
All right, Devin. Well, thank you again for sharing your time with us today.
Of course. Glad to be here.
If you're watching us on YouTube, please hit that like and subscribe button. And if you're listening in podcast form, please rate and review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Thank you all for your support. And until the next time, we are the G5 Hive.